Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bonfire Racing League. We are here at Phoenix Raceway for race 3 of season 12 of the Next Gen series. My name is Zach Panzarella. I got my partner Mean Gene Money here with me today. How you doing, Mean Gene?
I tell you what, man, I'm about like a cat in a room full of rockers. We're walking in here to Phoenix Raceway, race 3 of 10, season 12, BRL Premier Cup. Zach, I'm on fire, baby.
Oh man, a lot of reasons to be excited. We got another full field here today. It looks like about 28 drivers. It's going to be a great full field, just like we had last week at Las Vegas. And last week at Vegas, it was all about David Medina. It was the Medina show. He put a beating on the field on the second half of that race, and no one had anything for him. And last time we were at this track, and it was 2 seasons ago, so season 10, it was a lot of the same. Medina leading 113 of the 100 and I believe it was 30 laps of that race. However, he was not able to take home the win as Jason Landry was able to steal in the end. What are you expecting today, Mean Gene?
Well, I mean, looking at that, you think about David Medina. The guy ran the fastest lap. He had the pole. He led the most laps, and then there was a wreck at the end. If you look at the races we've had this season so far, Kentucky, 2 cautions. Last week, 0 cautions. So right now, these fields, and especially with a few less drivers, I'm not thinking there's going to be a lot of caution, and that's going to play right into the hands of David Medina. Other guys we've got to look at, though, Gulf Coast Racing, Joe Volpis, that guy pulled out 3rd place 2 years ago, season 10, last time they ran here. So I think Joe and that entire Gulf Coast team, they're going to be some players today.
Yeah, I really think we're going to have to look for the team racing today. This is a track where you can really benefit from having a teammate, not having to race someone as hard and be able to save your tires in that way, because we're probably going to get a few long runs today if we can keep it green and keep it clean. But yeah, I'm looking at guys like Joe Volpis as well. I've raced against him at this track, and he is no slouch at Phoenix. He loves the short tracks. He knows how to get around these flatter tracks. He has really good car control. So he is someone I'm looking for, able to take home that 3rd place last time we were here.
Yeah, Joe's just a solid driver. Off to a little bit of a slow start. He's had some incidents, but that's kind of been the MO for Volpis across the board. We've watched him race in our sister league over in Moonlight Racing, and it's kind of been the same way. In trucks, he had a little bit of an incident Monday night, Wednesday night. So Joe's kind of been a wrecking ball, minus the Miley Cyrus. But other than that, I think Volpis, he needs to get back on the horse and just take his time, run his race, and we could see that 07 card there at the end.
Yeah, I think so as well. Volpis has just, I mean, I think for him, if you were to ask him, he thinks he's just been in a really unlucky situations time and time again. Really just in the wrong place at the wrong time, especially with how big these fields are getting in both this league and the MRL. I mean, Gene, we're seeing 30, or well, let's just say 28 plus cars week in and week out. And that's awesome to see, but it makes the incidents a lot bigger typically and a lot more dangerous of a situation. I mean, maybe if you don't qualify as well as you normally do, or if you get off strategy and you end up mid-pack, things like that can happen. And this is definitely a race where we'll be talking about stuff like that happening. You really want to keep control of this race the best you can and really protect that track position at Phoenix Raceway.
Yeah, it's so easy to come in just a little bit too hot. 1 mile dogleg oval, and you're only looking at 9-degree banking in turns 1 and 2, 11-degree banking in 3 and 4. So you've got to have a lot slower speed coming in. People are going to have different angles. So I think we're going to see that fluctuation could create a little bit of that accordion effect. And then, Zach, that ridiculous dog leg, to cut or not to cut. And then if your wheels are just a little bit sideways, you're going to visit that inside wall.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about when we're talking about this track specifically, is that dog leg. I'll just let you guys in a little thing about me personally. This is one of my, I guess you could say now, local tracks. I'm from Southern California, so unfortunately with Auto Club being killed, this is the closest track to me now, essentially. This in Sonoma. So I come to this track all the time, Mean Gene. I've been to this track about 8 times in the past 4 years. And that dog leg is the most exciting thing to see in person. It's not uncommon to see 5 and 6 wide on restarts there. I would not be surprised if we saw that today, but you were so right about the to cut or not to cut part about that. That can really hurt your tires if you're doing that lap after lap. However, it's essentially the only legal shortcut in all of NASCAR, so it's really tempting and it's a really good place to make passes. So you got to pick and choose your moments about when to use that dog leg, and we saw it when we came here in MRL last year. one wrong move and you're, like you said, right into the inside wall in that dog leg. You got to keep that wheel as straight as you possibly can.
Yeah, you get a little bit sideways, it's over. And it's really easy to collect people. You talked about earlier these incidents with the larger groups, collecting more and more cars. And I think that that could be a theme moving forward. But as I said, I don't want to jinx it, but 2 cautions at Kentucky, 0 cautions last week at Vegas. These drivers are getting used to each other, especially on the 1.5-mile tracks. But hey, let's cut this thing 33% smaller, and then give them that big old dog leg so 5 guys think they can get together. And let's just see what kind of chemical formula we come together with that equation. But, you know, the guys that run up in the front, I think we're going to see them continue to put on the shows that they have. The Medinas of the world are fast. Sam Millikins are coming on. That Zach Engel guy. So a lot of these fellas looking now to make their mark. But the big story is who's going to knock off David Medina week in, week out. I ran some practice laps with these guys, Zach. And of course, Jared Kelly and David Medina are just running up at the front, dominating that thing. Some rookies of note, though. Ricky Mandela, that guy was putting down some pretty good laps. I ran into him in the pits. And he was actually getting cornered by some of the other drivers. Zach, it almost looked like an intervention. And I overheard what was happening, and he told him, yeah, look, I do have a drinking problem. I've been drinking brake fluid for about 6 months, but now I can stop anytime.
Well, good to hear. And yeah, he actually had a great drive last week. He had a little bit of bad luck on his last pit entry, and that cost him a tiny bit of time. But he had a good recovery, and he's going to be someone I'm looking for today. A lot of good rookies here. So I'm excited to see that. However, we did have our playoff standings pulled up a little bit ago. Jason Landry, or I'm sorry, not Jason Landry. I believe it was Jared Kelly, currently our points leader, and Medina still finding himself, I think, in 3rd or 4th in the points with that 18th place finish that he had to start off the to start the season with some bad fuel luck. So yeah, a lot can happen, and a lot of these guys needing good finishes without winning you're in, and also with points being so important here.
Tell you what, I'm looking up the top of that too. Look at some of these guys we haven't seen in just a little bit. Looked like Buddy Sully's going to make an appearance. You know, Buddy's still dealing with that shoulder injury, so real good to see him up there at the top of that qualifying board, 2nd place. No surprise to see David Medina, 27.5. What a banger, Zach.
Oh, that is a really, really fast lap from all those guys. And yeah, it's cool to see Buddy Sully out here. He sent me a picture yesterday of his 2 shoulders and his limited mobility in the injured one, and it's no joke. He can barely lift that thing, like, I want to say like a foot or two, Mean Gene. It looks painful. And we talked last week about Vegas being a track where it was on the easier side in terms of having injury like that. This is quite the opposite. That dog leg is going to hurt every single time he takes it with that shoulder injury he has. So props to Buddy Sully for fighting through the pain and putting down a heater of a qualifying lap.
Yeah, not bad right there. Looks like Medina is going to take the pole. Buddy Sully's going to be on the outside. David Owens, Jason Landry, 2nd row. Justin Malarkey, Christopher Smurrell, good run last week. Chris has had a good year so far. Expect to see that thing continue. Brandon Shelton, Jared Kelly, Kevin Kyle, and the rookie, Ricky Mandela. That's going to be a top 10.
Yep. Then starting at an 11th place, we got David Brenner. Look for him, a super, super quick driver. Tommy Fox in 12th. David Buell. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Joey Stiers in 14th. Look for him, a really quick driver. Almost won last week in MRL Trucks. Sam Milliken in 15th place, Matthew Smith, Nick Mills in 17th, Kyle Lanot in 18th, Mark Dumont in 19th, and Joseph Volpus rounding out the top 20.
I'm kind of surprised to see Joe down there. He must have had a little bit of an incident. Don't expect to see that Gulf Coast driver down there for very long. Dennis Puckett, he'll be starting in 21st position. Rookie Michael Benton in the 985, he'll be starting 22nd. Matt Schofield, Paul Federani, Edward Peltz, Richard Leclerc, really great name right there. I'm surprised he doesn't run F1. Joshua Mancuso, he's a rookie making his first start. And last place will be Gerald Rose in the 855. So a lot of rookies down at the bottom, and it looks like Ricky Mandela will be the top rookie of this rookie class, starting up in the 10th place.
Yeah, and I would look for Mandela to probably be hanging out there for the majority of this race, if not better than that. That's where we saw him at Vegas. And yeah, he's definitely, like I said, someone I have my eye on. He's had a very impressive start to the season. And he may be my early choice for Rookie of the Year. But
yeah, I saw hats. They're already putting out merch for that, right?
Oh yeah, yes they are. There's gonna be tons of merch for this and our sister league. We're gonna have lots of fun merch. And as we get ready to grid up, let's also give a shout out to our sponsor for today. Let's get those logos pulled up as well if we can. But yeah, I
Oh,
believe as you always, we have Fulcrum Racing giving us sponsorship throughout the league or throughout the season, and we have a couple of new sponsors today as well. Animal House Customs. Yeah, check them out at animalhousecustoms.com. I know, and that is one hell of a logo. I love that. Thank you to them for the sponsorship for today's race. Super, super grateful and just too cool to see different companies getting involved and helping us make this broadcast possible.
Yeah, we really can't do this without the help of the sponsors and you, the fans at home. If you're taking the time out of your day to watch this thing on YouTube, go ahead and hit like and hit subscribe. Give us that support, and we'll continue to give you all the fine racing that we can. A lot of views last week. Really want to thank you guys for that, and especially the sponsors, Folcom and Animal House this week, coming through real big. And right there, you can see our leaderboard as we're shooting down. Those graphics are brought to you by Animal House today.
Yes, we just mentioned it. And on the poll today, like we talked about, David Medina, he was able to capture the pole here last time we were here in season 10. So that's 2 straight poles at Phoenix for Medina. There's one thing that guy knows how to do here. Clearly, it's put down one really fast lap, which is very impressive. I'm going to be looking for him to likely try to get some distance early in the race, give himself a comfortable lead, and check out so he can protect those tires. But this, I'm thinking with this field size, Mean Gene, we may be in store for an unpredictable and hectic one.
Yeah, absolutely. And the only thing that he does, in addition to putting down one fast lap, he'll put down 130 fast laps. So he's going to be quite the guy to try to catch 4 sets of tires today for these guys. No fast repairs. So really need to take care of your equipment if you want to be there at the end of this thing. So really excited, getting ready to start this thing up and get them fired away, right?
Yes, we are. If we can pull up that track map one more time and take a quick look at that. Very, very cool thing about this track, or interesting thing. So that red line you see on the bottom there, that's the start-finish line. That was recently moved, which is why the dogleg now exists, which used to be a grass area, is now asphalt, so you can drive on it. But that backstretch there, which is now the backstretch of the track, used to be where the start-finish line is. So it's a very unique track in that because of that. And what that also does mean, Gene, is it gives it a really long pit lane. So it makes green flag pit stops pretty risky here with how long that pit lane is. When they reconfigured this track, they didn't really change anything about pit lane, which it resulted in it being very long. So something to look out for today. And yeah, it makes this track even more unique. I can't really think of any other track where they moved the start finish line like that.
And thanks to the sponsorship we're getting from these guys, we're using SDK today, and we will be able to monitor not just the time in the pits, but also the times that they are driving down pit lane. Looks like they're about to go for it.
Yes, they are. I believe it's going to be one lap around here. Uncharacteristic of most other short tracks where you normally get 2, but Phoenix won. And look at how early also, Mean Gene, that pace guard pulls off. You're already all by yourself. With
Brenner just shot out.
Oh, interesting. So Brenner shoots out early. We'll see if he has an issue. But nonetheless, we're about to go green for race 3 here in the BRL at Phoenix Raceway. Green flag, David Medina leads the field. And here we go, Mean Gene.
Wow, looking towards the back, they got backed up. It sent all the cars way off. Look how far back they're spread there. I see that 3 wide you're talking about. Side-by-side racing right now. Buddy Sully, David Owens, David Medina. This is a wild show, just like you said, Zach.
Yeah, Buddy Sully immediately going to the top lane, using that momentum. You saw Medina make immediate use of the dogleg as well, but didn't really carry too much momentum back on the track, and Sully was able to almost take advantage of it. But Medina, using his skill and using just how polished of a driver he is, to hug the bottom and maintain the lead as we go to lap 2. And smoke in front of them, smoke behind them. No caution yet, but it looks like there may be some trouble somewhere on the track.
Yeah, once you go down under that apron, you're just taking your chances. If the wheels are, you're going to send smoke, and I think that's what we saw. Veteran drivers, though, managed to keep that car moving forward, and the race continues to progress. Right now, battle for second is fierce. Look a little bit further back as they're coming back around that start-finish line. You're going to see David Medina, and now Malarkey trying to put his way in there. He's in that red, white, green, yellow number 73. So that guy is making that move, and he's got the 55 directly behind him as well. So lots of names we've seen these last 2 weeks still putting their mark on this.
Yeah, interesting thing I'm seeing as well. This corner that they're entering right now, normally where you see the majority of passing happen at this track, definitely the biggest braking zone. However, you're really seeing the rums right here forming out of the dogleg into 2 and back through that backstretch. That's really, look at that, right behind them, 3 wide with Owens in the middle. This is where we're seeing the action on the track, kind of uncharacteristic of Phoenix. Kind of unique with Phoenix. You really don't see that very often here, but I'm loving it. It's really getting some unique racing. As look at this, they're still 3 wide going into the last turn of the track.
Confidence at an all-time high for these drivers. Only 2 cautions in the last 2 races, so people are starting to think that they are Superman and they can get away with anything that they want. But you can quickly turn from Superman into Homelander with the bad moves right now. Though that 3 wide racing, very exciting for us. A little bit further back in the field, Joe Volpus 20th, Matt Schofield 21, and rookie Joe Mancuso making his first start, trying to battle up. It's time for Joe to make a move. He can't loiter back here too long.
No, he really can. You can already see actually pretty sizable gaps being created throughout this field. Probably does have something to do with that sloppy start to the race we had, but Volpus already 4 seconds back to the leader. These are not particularly long laps like we talked about, only about 27 seconds. So that's a sizable margin. You want to be careful. And smoke in front of Volpus. It looks like we may have some trouble on the racetrack. Yes, we do. Car around.
Oh, wow. Did he just decide
that's
to
the 23 of Stires.
The interior wall?
Oh, he may have. I don't know if we have the T-Bone Central graphic ready to go, as we are under yellow for the first time today. It looked like Joey Stires.
I'm going to go backwards, so you guys pause your iRacing right fast.
Yeah, that looked really unfortunate.
Yeah, it did. Let's take a closer look at this and see where it started. Definitely one car getting the worst of it, and it was that 23. But not sure if that's where the incident itself started. Now we're looking at Kevin Kyle's Nick Mills, and Stires is on this shot here. Here we go. There's Stires in that Bubba Wallace 23 font. Oh, and a car gets loose in front of him. Stires looks to make a correction and just noses it into the wall. Unbelievably
Nick Mills
hard.
In that 20?
I believe that is Mills. Let's see. Trying to figure out who that is. That is Mills in the 20.
Mills in that Toyota.
So Mills losing it on his own, coming on the exit of 2 and 3 there, and looks like
I think they
kind of overcorrects and comes back up the track here, Mean Gene, and that is where you're going to see the reaction from Stires.
Ooh, little touch.
Mm-hmm. Back up the track. Oh, into that. And at that point, Stires is already. He does. So I thought Mills may have gotten out of there scot-free. He did not. Stires immediately toes. That's going to be it for him today. That's a huge shame. Wow. Yeah. 2 separate incidents, but definitely related. But definitely, I don't think any contact here with Stires and Mills. Just a reaction. Yeah. Brutal hit for the 23. Yeah. And that's going to probably be it for his day.
Yeah, no fast repairs. I don't think he's coming back from that one.
Don't think so, Mean Gene. That's likely the end of his day. The 20 is going to have a hard time recovering from that front end damage as well. So we will have to see what happens there. But drama early in the midfield with someone who I said to look out for. Joey Steyer is a fast driver. I was definitely expecting to see him up front sooner rather than later. So here we go.
Yeah, that's the problem. So we're already getting our first caution here, which surpasses what we received last week in Vegas.
Yeah, yes, it does. That was impressive at Vegas. A very fast racetrack, a lot of close racing, and we were able to keep it green the entire race. So that was crazy to see. This track, not surprised that we already have a caution. Won't be surprised if we have more of them, Minji.
I'm on Medina, and he's getting ready to go through the start-finish line.
So can spread out, though.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely can spread out. We actually already kind of saw that during that run there. We had about 5 seconds, like we said, to 20th place. So there was already big gaps being formed, but still what ended up causing that caution was ultimately a self-spin, and I do think we may see more of those today. This is a really flat track, not a ton of grip out there, and as those tires wear, it only gets worse.
Yeah, I did have the opportunity to drive, and I noticed a couple of break-offs. It seemed like, though it really wasn't until 20 laps or so on the tires that I really found those troubles.
Yeah, it can take a little bit longer than I think you'd normally expect at tracks this size, but you ride off those laps quick. So 20 laps will happen before you know it. Of note, no one in the front seeming to want to pit in this early in the race, whether it be for top of a fuel or new tires. No one interested quite yet. trying to protect that track position, which we've said is going to be important today. It's obviously much easier to find yourself in an incident if you're mid-pack than somewhere like where Medina, Sully, Owens, and Landry are. And David Owens doing a great job getting through the field quick, already up to third place.
Nice. 6 cars right now are not being shown on the lead lap after those early incidents. Looks like Paul Federani, after that early mishap at the very beginning, a lot of cars were off pace. We saw David Brenner shut it down into the left really hard. And Federani, he ended up making contact with Michael Benton, and that might have done something to the front end of Federani's car, sending him out early.
Yeah, definitely could have. A lot happened there, Mean Gene. So not surprising to find out that more cars were caught up in that
Pace
one.
car just entered the pits on mine.
Pace car into the pits, and now we have this long backstretch with just the field all by itself, maintaining pit speed, getting ready to get this race back under green. Buddy Sully to the outside, David Medina to the inside. I was wrong about Owens. He just didn't cross the line in the right order before. He's in 5th place here on the inside lane. Behind him, you're going to have Shelton and Jared Kelly, our championship leader. And here we go, going green. Medina with a great launch to start off our second restart of the race. Sully taking it high, Medina taking the dog leg.
Yeah, look at that. You can see already the different strategies as they're going in there. I think on a restart, though, you're pretty much forced to go below that apron because you just don't know how tight that outside lane is going to pinch you. Right now, top 5 cars are single file. You see a little bit of double wide racing as we go backwards. David Medina in control. Jason Landry in the hunt in second. Buddy Sully, Justin Malarkey, David Owens. That's your top 5.
Yes, it is. Buddy Sully using the top line, losing a spot immediately to Smorl over there. Or, I'm sorry, to Landry. Landry, last year's winner here. So now we have our 1-2 of Medina and Landry, 2 of the fastest cars at this track. Last time we came here in season 10, running side by front to back. And then, yeah, Sully using that top lane, not able to defend a spot. So like you said, Mean Gene, you're right. I really do think that bottom lane is the way to go on these restarts. It's a great way to protect your track position.
You know, another thing I wonder with Buddy Sully is he avoiding going below the apron because of that shoulder injury? I mean, how many times can you jerk hard left on the car? And no sooner do I say that than Buddy Sully goes lower than anybody else on the track.
Yeah, but I think you could have some. You could be onto something there, Mean Gene. I think you may be right. You can't not do it. He won't have a chance to win this race, but he does probably, with that injury, have to pick and choose when to use it. Not just having how hard he has to jerk that wheel, but that transition is a lot rougher than it looks. It really, if you have a stronger wheel, it really wants to rip the wheel out of your hand. When you join the dogleg and when you come back on the track, both hurt bad. So I can't imagine what that's feeling like for him. So I think he just has to pick and choose when he wants to use that dogleg.
Yeah. And that's pretty much going to be the story of the day. I think for a lot of cars is when you feel safe about it. You don't want to take yourself out of the race. That was that first caution, that spin we saw, self-inflicted. And you don't want to do that trying to cut down and get under there. But, you know, no sooner do you say drive a safe race. This is a tough track to pass on. And if you want to make that pass, there is no nicer spot to do it than in that dog leg. So I think that's a spot of contention, I think, for all the drivers. We're just going to have to keep an eye on as we continue to watch this thing come out. Right now, David Medina is still your leader. He's pushed that up to almost half a second now.
Yep, we're starting to see cars get loose and tight auto too and hit that outside wall a little bit. So that's going to be another passing opportunity. But you're right. The longer these runs go on, the harder it gets to pass at a track that's already difficult to pass at. So you really are going to have to use that dog leg to set up passes and try to get next to the car in front of you and complete the pass through that long sweeping turn too. And that's also an opportunity, like we said, that cars are probably going to start slipping up. So that is probably going to be your best way to make a pass right now, as we're starting to see a lot of single file racing throughout the field, Mean Gene.
Yeah, other car of note, you can see Joe Vulpes. He's moved up 11 spots, currently running in 9th. He's brought Dennis Puckett with him as well. So those two guys right now looking like hard chargers as far as trying to push their way up into the top 10. Good to see both of them finally getting that good run after their slow qualifying time. So a bad qualifying, I can deal with that, especially if I still got a good car come race day. And right now, that's what we're seeing out of Joe Fulpus running in that 07 right there.
Yep, and then quite the opposite of a hard charger, Jared Kelly, who started that restart, I believe, in 3rd or 4th place, already down to 8th, having a hard time keeping these tires underneath him, keep the momentum going. I mean, 8th isn't bad, but certainly wasn't where he found himself before. Jared Kelly, our current championship leader, really just wanted to put in a good race after good race, go points racing every time he's out here, and he's certainly capable of that.
Hey, well, you know what? He's already got a golden ticket in his pocket. He's not too concerned about it. And he could just be saving right now. It's amazing how you can run that first few laps. It feels great. There's a caution. You come out and you pick up some marbles on the tires, and you almost feel like you're in a different vehicle. That might be what he's experiencing. Let's see a few more green laps. I bet you we're going to see Kelly right back in the hunt.
Yeah, and in real NASCAR, you often see the best car still making adjustments throughout the race, never being satisfied with how fast they are, knowing they need to stay on top of the racetrack, and being the best at one point in the race isn't good enough. While in iRacing, you can't really make too many in-car adjustments as the race goes on. You need to be figuring out the track as the race happens. And the track will change, but you need to be figuring out new lines, new ways to be faster, and new ways to make passes on your opponents. And that is something that you're really going to have to see from someone like Jared Kelly. And like you said, you can also pick up marbles under a caution, and the car can feel entirely different than it did in the previous run. But a lot can happen in a track like this when there's a lot of unpredictability with the surface. It looks pretty hot out there today. So definitely going to be something to look for, as I do think we will have comers and goers, just maybe not guys like David Medina.
No, I think he's a comer and a comer. Yeah. Now, speaking of the lap temperatures, during practice, right before the race, it was definitely significantly warmer. So these guys, a lot of them did say on the radio they felt like they were driving a different car. I expect to see the track temps rising as we continue to watch this thing progress, though. Currently, lap 20 coming across for 21. These boys putting it in. And now I'm wondering now, is it time to think about tires, or is just the fuel going to be the issue? In theory, you could make about 35 laps on the earth without sweating it. But with 4 sets of tires, I did the math early, and I thought, heck, I'm coming down about every 25 laps, and I'm going to use all my tires.
Yeah, I definitely think this is one of the tracks where if you've got them, and smoke them, or whatever they call it, or whatever they say about that, or smoke them if you got them. That's what it is. And this definitely is one of those tracks when it comes to tires. You should use them if you have them. I do think you are seeing some people having that in the top of their mind, the tire saving. However, from my experience, typically when the tires start to wear here through this turn 2, you start to see people migrate to that top line that you see Brenner at right now, or I'm sorry, you see Kelly at right now. And a lot of people still hugging the bottom, really using that bottom line, which tells me that they're still feeling pretty good about those tires, and they're still getting the grip they want to feel confident to not smack that outside wall. So pretty impressive as the 2 sends it in deep. Brennan Shelton almost into the wall on turn 2 there, able to keep it together, but maybe not. Look for these things to get tight here, Mean Gene.
Well, that's the thing. I saw 2 laps ago, a lot of cars chose not to go below the apron, but that time they did. I think your angle just coming out of turn 4 is going to help you make that decision. If you know how tight you want to get on there, you can see right there a lot of cars choosing not to go low, and then a few others taking that opportunity to go down. I think tire temperature also an issue. These drivers really good at monitoring tire temp. It is a big topic of conversation for drivers during practice, and also inside of the channels for each of the individual teams. I know Team Folcom really is on top of things like that, communicating, hey, what's your tire temp? What's your tire wear? Same thing with Gulf Coast Racing and a lot of these guys. So maybe that decision is coming out of the car. Maybe you just need a couple of laps to try to get that tire temp right back down. You can see right there, that is a hard turn, but yet he manages to keep that thing straight and not have any kind of spin incident. I believe that's what, Matthew Smith there? The 97, 96?
I believe so. Huge field, still learning everybody here. But yes, I believe so. We also see Volpus coming through the field. I believe he's already brought it in. I think a few of these cars came into the pits, are sick of these tires. Maybe cutting this into 4, maybe expecting a caution. But a lot of these guys wanting to use an undercut to gain some spots here. Like we've talked about, passing on track is difficult, and one of the best ways to do it is to come in earlier than everybody else and use those fresh tires to your advantage and make passes that they can't defend. As see Volpus using those fresh tires to his advantage, making easy work of David Owens.
Yeah, you can see how he just slams down under that apron while those other 3 cars, of which David Owens is a part, choosing to stay high. I think they have to at that stage of the game. The tires are wore out. Oh, my.
Around goes Smith. Around goes Smith, and that will likely bring the caution.
There we go.
I know, that was scary. Green's still out. I can't believe this. He has just stopped on the racetrack.
And look, there's the 855 with his pass of the day. Finally got by somebody.
Is race control asleep, Mean Gene? There we go. There's the yellow. My goodness, NASCAR.
Well,
God.
it's iRacing.
Right.
It's iRacing doing this.
No, that was real NASCAR in charge right there. That wasn't iRacing. That was real NASCAR in charge. They're the ones that are guilty of that most of the time.
Yeah. Well, Bonfire Race League, they like to keep it as smooth as they can. They're not having the admins throw cautions because somebody self spins. They're not throwing a caution or they're not clearing black flags. They try to keep it as legit as possible. And that late caution is about as legit NASCAR.
Oh.
Okay, that was bad.
That was not a great. Sorry, Matt. We're not laughing at you. That was a big hit.
Yeah, that burns. I have a burning sensation.
That was a rough one, and it's what we talked about, me and Gene. It was that dogleg transition. You can see right when he went into it, it upset that car, and to that inside lane he went. That inside wall. That inside wall sticks out because it's the pit exit. Oh God, it makes the runs very, very brutal. As we see our leaders bring it into the pits here, David Medina going to lead them into the pits.
Yeah, and again, no fast repairs, so that most likely will be the end of the day for the 96 of Matthew Smith. David Medina bringing him in. I think these guys have seen enough as far as the tires go, and it looks like we're all bringing him in. There's Joe Volpus we talked about earlier, David Buell. David really needs a good run today. Remember, he got T-boned in the opener at Kentucky by the 855. So Buell, usually a top finisher, needs to continue on, the path of what he did last week at Las Vegas. Good to see Buell back out there running straight.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like you said, nobody wanted anything to do with these tires anymore. I'm watching Medina and I'm seeing one side up and other side up. So that's going to be 4 tires for him, 4 tires for Sully right behind him. Everyone in their stalls clean so far. Medina out clean. He's going to maintain the lead of this race. And yeah, I think watching that 96 nose it into the wall, just solely from the transition of the dogleg was enough for this field to say, okay, I don't want these tires anymore.
No, you can't play games out here. You have to take care of yourself. Never mind what the other drivers are going to do. And we've been lucky, that is our second caution. And yet not a lot of guys are getting into each other. So whether it be self-afflicted, there's been no collateral damage. And that's something that we were a little bit concerned about earlier, that there are still there are a few cars not being shown running. Looks like 7 cars right now laps down. So a little bit of attrition starting to strike. Much different scenario today than we've seen the previous 2 weeks.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be a much smaller pack of cars compared to even this point in the race in Vegas. Even with those no cautions, we did lose a small handful of cars, but yeah, this may be one of those races, me and Gene, where if you can keep it clean, you can get yourself a top 15 just for not wrecking. Because these wrecks are seeming like they may collect more than one car when they do happen. I cannot believe with how long that 96 had to sit in the middle of the racetrack that didn't collect more cars. Just goes to show how good a job everyone did of wreck avoidance there. But man, I would be surprised to see that happen that successfully again. As the pace car pulls off, it's going to be Medina again with Landry to his outside. Like we've talked about, these guys know this track and they are proving it early here today. Watch for Medina to go to the bottom of the dog leg, and I'm really curious to see if the 56 follows him or if he does the top lane like Sully did. As we get ready to go green here, getting to the Geico restart zone, look for Medina to blast off like he always does. There he goes, Medina off like a rocket, and it doesn't look like the 56 is going to be able to get as low as he wants, still below the dog leg, but a great move by the 73 to get to the second place. In third place, having a hard time maintaining second place on these restarts. Or other way around, sorry.
Yeah, really difficult if you're on that outside lane to slam down as much as you want to. Almost forces you to hug the apron, and then you just have to pray that the guy on the inside lane next to you is going to go down. A little bit further in the back in the field, you can't be as confident as you can with the skill level of the drivers up front. Right now, though, skill level David Medina not in question. He is leading this thing. Justin Malarkey into second. Look at Jared Kelly putting a move side-by-side racing right here at Phoenix for second place. Great action.
Yeah, everyone got some newfound confidence with those 4 tires. You can tell everyone's feeling better than they have all race. They understand this track better. They know what to expect, and they have the best tires they've had all race. And you can see these guys want positions now. This is the best time to get them.
Wow. And look at him slamming down below there. Lots of cars feeling very confident about taking it down underneath that apron now that they've got those 4 freshies on there. We're going to continue to monitor and see just how long it takes. So this is lap 33. Everybody feels great. Let's revisit this conversation around lap 45, lap 50, and see if we still see 20 cars slamming down on that inside.
Yeah, definitely. And look at Vulpes. What a great recovery from him, all the way up to 6th place already. He is doing a phenomenal job, not letting the struggles of this race get to him, and that strategy really worked out for him. He may be on an older tire situation than everybody else. I'm assuming he is. Nonetheless, though, doing a great job and having the best track position he's had all day.
Yeah, Joe Vulpes, remember, he did get third 2 years ago here, and, you know, did have a little chance to talk with Joe. He's got to run his own race. He can't worry about what happened last weekend or what happened Thursday in trucks. Just got to get out there, run your race, and see what happens. And now that these guys are starting to spread out, I think that's when we're really going to see certain drivers excel. Joe Vulpes, one of the guys we're expecting to see excel here. A couple of other guys really starting to put moves on this track. Christopher Smurrell running up in 7th place in the number 5 Ford. Brandon Shelton right behind him. So guys we've seen run strong week in, week out, now starting to cut up through this track. They'd like to improve that position, but the guy we got to talk about, like you said, Joe Vulpes, up 14 spots up into that 6th position.
Yeah, a lot of great drivers will use that first run to kind of get a feel for the car and not overdrive it, not damage the car, and just figure things out. And now, at this point in the run, is when you'll start to see them making passes and getting the track position that that they normally have. Guys like Chris Smurrell doing a great job getting through the field here. Not surprised to see him up here. And yeah, he probably does have some stuff figured out. A lot of times, those guys kind of choosing to be in that part of the field early in the race, not having the same sense of urgency.
Yeah, this is an interesting track. A lot of guys did choose not to qualify, which surprised me considering how that bit them right in the behind at Vegas with the no cautions. Lots of those cars going laps down. Currently, though, 21 cars of our 28 are on the lead lap, continuing to battle for position. A lot of guys still slamming it down. David Owens, Joe Vulpes. So Gulf Coast really looking smooth up there. Up front, though, Medina trying to build that gap that he has over Jared Kelly and Jason Landry. I got a feeling those are 3 names we're going to be saying all year.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Medina especially, man, this guy is going to be so hard to beat. He really is, seems like the Master Chief of this league. He's putting a beating on the field already. I think he's led every single lap, Mean Gene.
Now, here's an interesting scenario. There is a lap car coming up. He's closing on it pretty quickly here. So this will be the first test. We haven't really seen a lot of lap traffic. That lap driver also is, wow, golly, he's about 11 seconds behind the rest of the field. So Gerald Rose just off the pace. Going to see how quickly Medina closes and if he has the opportunity to just slip on by. That guy must have had an incident earlier on the track to be that far behind the rest of the group.
Yeah, it could have been, and like we saw earlier, like the caution's not coming out as easily, automated by iRacing as we would expect normally. So yeah, I think that's very possible that Gerald Rose maybe got around and it didn't bring on a caution. Now finding himself 11 seconds from the field, hoping for an actual caution so he can catch back up, and hoping that 9 of Medina cannot get to him too quickly and put him a lap down. Because yeah, with that type of pace differential, you'd expect Medina to be able to make quick work of him, and for Rose not to try to hold him up too bad, even though he does have a right to. That will be curious, and that will be the first time we've had to see that today. But who knows, Mean Gene? I'm going to go ahead and make the assumption that we won't even make it that far. Still pretty intense racing throughout the field, and these guys are really putting it all on the line. Even where you do see single file racing, you're still seeing guys get loose and also get tight on the exits of these corners. They're really using all this racetrack.
And there's another guy right there, David Brenner. He's been putting down some bangers. He's only 1 spot up from his starting position. You can see him making the battle right there. That guy, though, he ran fast in practice, and right now he's got a really good car behind his Gulf Coast teammate of David Owens. So I think looking at Brenner, Owens, and Vulpes up in 5th, Gulf Coast definitely dialed in their cars for this week, trying to have an answer for Folcom Racing.
Yeah, look at Sully going down the field pretty bad as well. Sully losing quite a few positions right now. As you see, the 5 to the inside of him, Smorro looking to the inside of Sully. Not sure if Sully had a little bit of an incident there, or if he just is already having these tires fall off or saving more than others. But he has lost a few positions, and we'll bring it up again. I'm sure that can't be fun with that shoulder injury, being forced to run the outside lane, being forced to race hard. And look what's going to happen if he cannot maintain his momentum with Smorl to his inside. Another car right there behind him looking to take advantage of Sully right there.
Yeah, Buddy Sully got Brandon Shelton sneak on by. This Brenner, the two right there, Brandon Shelton coming into the picture. Yeah, Sully's not in a mood to battle people right now. I think while he's healing, he's just in a situation of accumulating points. We watched him in MRL last year when he took that Monday Night Championship. He bided his time, came in late into the season, popped him a couple of wins, and then he was healthy, strong by the end. I think Buddy Sully right now is probably just putting in laps. Super competitive car. I mean, golly gee, I wish I could say I'm running 8th place in a Premier Cup League and I'm just putting in laps. But 6 laps down from his qualifying time, battling that shoulder injury. Oh, and there's our top rookie right there.
Yes, there he is, and in front of him was a big loose moment there. I believe that, trying to figure out who that was, but yeah, loose moment there. We're starting to see it already. That was Attitude.
That's our race owner.
That was Puckett getting a little bit loose Attitude there. We'll have to keep our eye on that with other cars and with him as well. It was right here, and it's easy, and it sneaks up on you. Sometimes, or you often don't realize until it's too late, Mean Gene, that the car is no longer underneath you.
All right, and while we were looking there, looks like our leaders, Medina and Jared Kelly, both went by the 855, putting him a lap down. So that'll be the first car that's actually running 1 lap down. They let him go by smoothly. Jason Landry now pulling up on him. So lap drivers becoming a factor, but not a big factor in this race right now. After that, though, lots of time between the next guy in line, the 19th position of Kyle Lynott. So I think we're just going to see these guys zipping around the track, not a problem. As you can see, Jason Landry make quick work. Yeah, so you can see Lynott got a log lead.
Mm-hmm. And Lynott is also running by himself, so it looks like he may have also had an incident or previous damage. But yeah, I think a reason why, if you're Jerry Rose, why you don't fight that and you let it go is that big gap. If we do get a caution before the leaders are able to get to Lynott, that's still going to be the lucky dog for Jerry Rose. So the odds still in his favor to get that lap back and have that not be a crippling situation for him. So definitely the right call to not fight the leaders, let them go on their merry way. And yeah, Lynott all the way up the track right now. I wouldn't be worrying too much.
Hey, look, there's another hard charger on the track right now, that 867 of Richard Leclerc. He's up 10 spots over his initial starting grid. So really nice to see our French-Canadian putting down some hot laps. Richard, you know, he's been in the league for a few years. He's still choosing to run that 800 number. Not sure if that is a choice. He's got the 17 on his car, so probably need to have a conversation with league admin Kevin Kyle and get that figured out, because I believe there is another 17 out on the track, Sam Milliken, right?
I think so, yeah. And confusing us with my leaderboard. I'm like, where's the 17 of Leclerc? So yeah, Milliken is the 17 right now, so we are going to have to get that figured out, aren't we?
Yeah, imagine if you're a driver out there and you're like, screw you, 17. I mean, what did I do? You don't know which one. I guess you got to learn how to say screw you in French. That way you could be specific about which driver you were referring.
Exactly. I think that would be the key there. But yeah, a lot of action in this field, especially mid-pack there, as you see the two of Shelton holding on to that position.
Look at Shelton now, that 855. He's about to get eaten up. Looks like a Pac-Man game as the top middle of this group closing in on him. Going to be interesting to see what the rookie does.
Yeah, never a fun situation to be in when there's battling happening around you as a lapped car. You're just like, all right, guys, where do you want me? How do I stay out of the way and not be a problem here? But the 855 doing a good job keeping pace right now. Actually, kind of gapping the two a little bit.
I want you in the pits away from me so I can run my race.
Yeah, there's the 855 getting a little bit loose on the exited two there, as we're seeing from a few cars out in this field. And yeah, not what you love to see when you're trying to lap that car. As you see the two trying to buy his time here, trying to line up his move and make sure he can make quick work of the 855.
But those four cars behind him, they got to be ready to just make short work of this. And the other thing we're not talking about is just how far ahead the cars ahead of them are getting. You know, this is it takes 28 seconds to get around this track. 29 seconds, and if you look back at the cars that are stuck behind the lapper there, oh my.
The 855 loose and into the wall, and I think that's probably the line that two was hoping he'd run. A brilliant line for him.
There it is, and everybody gets by.
Yep, and everyone, yep, including Sully, all the way back to Sully. So 4 cars able to get by the 855 lapped car of Gerald Rose there. As you didn't see the inside, there goes Brenner looking to the inside of Shelton here. Some good battling in the mid-pack.
Yeah, that's what we like to see right there. Those guys fighting hard. And they're starting to put some laps on these tires. We're at lap 53, and I said we'd revisit exactly how loose and tight those tires are. And this is the perfect time to do it. As you can see, side-by-side racing, Brenner still choosing to go up under that apron and doesn't really seem to be too much of an advantage as he's still side-by-side with Brandon Shelton. And we'll just have to see exactly that outside speed still holding. So tires getting slick, but those guys still willing to cut it down into the apron, and guys on the outside still willing to hold the hammer down and run that rail.
Yeah, right now it appears that Brenner just wants to get as low as he can to give himself the best drive off he possibly can, which makes sense.
Ooh.
That is a smart move by him. As well, it's getting feisty though.
Right there, that number 7 right there, Edward Peltz. That's another lapper.
No. Brenner is crazy loose underneath the 2. That was a Tokyo drift moment for Brenner. Nice gather up by the 22, but wow, that was close.
I heard the music. I heard the Tokyo music come on.
Oh yeah, I heard it immediately. It was about 5 seconds of just like the ding ding ding, and then it went away. But now Owen's trying to take advantage of that, looking to the inside of Brenner. Brenner, we talked about tire temperature, probably pissed those tires off right there. Really needs to give it an opportunity to calm back down so we can get that car back underneath him.
Yeah, David Owens right there running in 8th place, about to zip on by. Buddy Sully's still in the hunt. Really strong performance, a gritty performance by Sully, trying hard to keep this thing competitive, battling that shoulder. Not a surprise for a lot of us, but if you've ever hurt your shoulder, boy, it hurts. And look at that. You could see the 22 of Brenner continuing to fade a little bit. I think you're right about those tires, and they just need a break.
Yeah, it really can take about 3 to 4 laps at a track like this to get those tires cooled down to where they're not wanting to spin out and they're being predictable again. So that's the right move. It may cost you a couple more positions like it did right there to Sully, but it's better than spinning the car out, damaging the car. And if you don't give them a chance to calm down, me and Gene, they're not going to calm down on their own. You really have to drive deliberately softer than you would. You can't go back to normal even.
Mm-mm.
And you even saw David Owens there in the 11 getting very loose as well. He did a good job gathering up. Not as big of a moment as it was for Brenner, but certainly all these cars looking more loose than they did at this point in the previous run, me and Gene.
Yeah, lots of green flag, big green flag run here, allowing these drivers to see exactly how their cars are going to handle on the long run. David Brenner, quick as a hiccup at the beginning, a little bit of a wiggle, but it looks like he's settled in right now as he's starting to dial his sights in on his teammate there. Oh, David Buell's still taking it underneath as well, but those Gulf Coast guys, you know, they've talked about the long runs, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing. Long run by those Fords.
Yeah, and one thing to point out as well, the 55 of Jared Kelly right now, while he does find himself 3 seconds back to the leader of Medina, he is the fastest car on the track by a pretty sizable margin, putting down the fastest laps, and he also has the fastest lap of the race. So the 55 is the fastest car on the track right now. It's just a matter of having the track position on the restart, being able to maintain it early in the restart, which we saw him struggle with on the last one, and also being able to make this run at this point matter, be close enough to Medina. The damage may be done at this point in this run, but we'll have to look out for that 55 of Kelly as this race goes on, as he clearly has some long run speed figured out.
Yeah, Showboat. That guy is just known for speed up at the front. The previous 2 races, not a surprise at all to see him wanting to chase down David Medina. A little bit further back, you can see Smurrell give a shout out to his mom there, running strong. That's that 5 car.
Very nice. Morel doing a great job out here, like we talked about. Has been getting through the field slowly but steady.
What is the nutmeg state? What do you think that is?
What is the nutmeg state? We look like uncultured people here, don't we? Because I do not know. I don't even have a guess. Do you?
I do not, but you know who does? Siri, where's the nutmeg state?
What'd she say?
Connecticut.
Connecticut. So that 5 out of Connecticut. Wow, I was not going to guess that.
You're a big Joey Logano fan, maybe.
Oh, yeah, because Lord knows we need more of those.
I think one's enough.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be crazy to have like 40% of Joey Logano's entire fan base in this league.
That being said, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor, Animal House Customs. They are kind enough to help us out here today and keep
Solely
us
loose.
on the track. Animal House Customs. Give them a shout out. Give them a look online.
Check out Animal House Customs. And yes, thank you to them for sponsoring this race. Sorry to cut you off there, being Gene. Buddy Solely with a big loose moment. Bet that felt wonderful on that shoulder.
Yeah, you got to wonder exactly what he's dealing with as far as the pain level goes. But Buddy's going to grit it out.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's doing a good job. He's in 9th place right now. You can tell that this run has not gone his way, and he's kind of just trying to minimize the damage already done in terms of the tire wear he's already used. Whenever you do have those loose moments, me and Gene, they heat up the tires. They take out a couple percentages of wear. They don't do anything good for you. They don't do anything positive, that's for sure. So Buddy Sully trying to get that back underneath him. Same with the car behind him.
Off pace, the 57. Not sure what's happening there.
Oh, in the wall. You're right. Tommy Fox in the wall, out of 2, right around the dog leg right now. Still off the pace. This looks like some pretty significant damage. It looks like he wants to bring this into the pits, but looking for the right time. This field so spread out, Mean Gene. It's going to be hard to find a moment to get down the track, and he doesn't have much longer. I think that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, this is kind of an extended run here. It makes you wonder, maybe it's some kind of hardware issue.
Yeah, that thing looks pressed up against the wall. Can we run on board real quick, buddy, if we could? I'd love to see his cockpit view and see if that steering wheel is pinned to the right. That would indicate a unplugged steering wheel.
Oh, I don't have that view.
Oh, we don't have the cockpit view. I will check it out super quick on my end.
But I do know what happened.
His wheel is straight. His wheel is straight. We're getting word from him right now. What was the situation?
He had a hardware failure and everything just locked to the right. It wouldn't downshift or steer.
This is a hardware failure. The shifter is broken and the steering wheel is broken. The steering wheel, I can see, it's not pinned to the right, but it's pinned straight now. Leading me to believe it was pinned to the right. I see the gas hiccuping. It looks like you can't shift this. This is just a nightmare situation for the 57. He sounds like he's getting it back up to speed on the onboard right now, but that thing won't shift. This is not a situation that's going to fix himself. I think he's going to have to tow. Yes, it looks like that's what he's going to do here. He's going to tow, and I think this will allow us to stay under green. Nope, there's the yellow, Mean Gene.
Yeah, it was inevitable. Tough day, Tommy, too, because, Tommy came out here. He laid down a really good qualifying lap. He started up in 12th place. A great opportunity for Tommy, and he was running up there in that lead, 15 cars pretty much all day long, not in any danger of being lapped, waiting for other tires to wear out, and then that hardware issue, as you said, shifter, wheel, just kind of put him in there, and that's going to cost him a few laps. Really unfortunate for Tommy Fox.
Yeah, he's going to probably have to unplug. And one thing to point out, look at that gap, Mean Gene, and that is because the pits opened before the field was able to catch up to Medina. There is essentially nothing that can go wrong for him to not keep this lead. I think people could take 2 tires and he'd still keep the lead. That's how big that gap was entering the pits. A amazing situation here for David Medina Sr. is just keeping complete stranglehold on this race. Look at this. Buddy Sully, he was running a 9th, getting into his pit stall as Medina is getting ready to drop his last set of tires. There he goes. Wow. That was a perfect scenario for David Medina Sr., our leader of this race, keeping control as we continue on. That was a funky caution, but it definitely came at a good time. Very similar run as the previous one.
Yeah, David coming in right now, all things are just turning up roses for David Medina. But remember, there is history at this track. There was that caution, that crash he was involved in 2 years ago that ended up making him lose out to Jason Landry. Landry only led to 10 laps, but he sure led the most important one at the end. So that's still got to be stuck in Medina's brain running here. So even though everything is roses right now, remember, roses really smell like poo-poo.
Oh, gosh. Shout out Outcast. I love that band.
Gotta do it.
Oh, yeah. I love that one. But yeah, Medina, I mean, and this is when it gets interesting, me and Gene. So now we have 50 laps left. We know, or correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we know that's not a fuel run. So what do you want to do? Do you want to run it dry and have the speed at the end, have those fresh tires for the last probably 20, 15 laps? Or do you want to just cut this thing in half, 25, 25? So that's going to be a big decision that guys like Medina, Landry, Kelly, Markley, and Volpis really need to make. That's going to make or break their race. And don't look, I mean, I'm thinking all the way down to 15th. Anyone in the lead lap with the right strategy could get this thing done, Mean Gene. As the pace car has pulled off, we're getting ready to go green for the third time today. The same top two that we've seen all day leading us to green of Medina Sr. and Landry. Look for Medina to blast off early and take it to the inside. There he goes. Medina with a great restart. Going to go into the inside of the dogleg with the 55 of Kelly right behind him. Looking to go second, looking to grab second place as they're 3 wide behind him.
Look at that. Malarkey took it really high. Him and Jason Landry touched for just a moment. All the cars managed to make it through there. Joe Volpis still running up with this lead group. Hell of a start, though, by Medina as he just pulls away from that foolishness. Side-by-side racing. Jared Kelly, Jason Landry right behind him. But let's not count out that 73 of Malarkey. That guy has been running strong all day, and if he can stay ahead of this traffic, I think that's a name we might be calling at the end. That's that 73 for Justin Malarkey.
Yeah, Malarkey doing a great job today. He's been there all day. You're right, Mean Gene. He really has spent very little time outside the top 5. He can definitely sneak here at the end and grab this win, so I would not be surprised to see Malarkey up front leading lap soon. And there's Volpis again doing a great job. Once he got that track position, he has not given it up. Shelton on his outside there in the number 2 doing a good job as well. A lot of these guys have just really focused on keeping their track position, protecting it, and minimizing the risk in this race, and they are being rewarded for it with only under 50 to go and having a chance to win this race.
Yeah, radio communication earlier overheard on that pit stop. Joe Volpis talking about how difficult it is to pass out here on the track. Even when he's slamming it down on that apron, those outside lanes are able to maintain that speed. You can see right there, he's side by side with Shelton. Shelton is just keeping that hammer down. And let's watch what happens. Volpis is going to slam it down under the apron, and he does improve. But look at that entry speed of Shelton. So he's really not going anywhere. Malarkey preventing him from implementing that slide job. So Volpis' team talked about having a little bit extra to make that pit entrance and try to pass him in the pits right now. Joe Volpis still in 6th place, but that's 14 up. He's our hard charger of the moment.
Yeah, that is definitely what you're seeing. And not just that, as we're watching this happen again, look at the angle, Mean Gene. Look at the angle of entry. Joe Volpis is essentially still coming up the racetrack. His nose is still looking. Oh, is right behind them. There's a loose car. And we have a car around right behind Volpis. I believe that was a 22 of Brenner around and down the inside wall. We're going to stay green as that was off the racing surface. But Brenner with a huge fumble right there. Going to lose a lot of track position and damage the front end of that car. As you can see, that front right side. All damaged now. But back to Volpis real quick. You're looking at the wall. Your nose is facing the wall. While Malarkey behind him in the 73 and the 2 of Shelton being able to make a nice arc, a nice half circle out of that corner. And not only does that help with the exit or with the entry speed, it really helps with the exit speed. You already have the car face the way you need to, so you can gas it up earlier and you can have a lot more confidence and a lot less steering input. It does make it very difficult to pass, even with that big advantage you get by shortcutting the track.
Yeah, these guys are willing to take those chances right now. We're just fresh into this green flag run where most guys did take the 4 tires. Volpis, though, he's got to be tired of seeing Malarkey right in front of him. Those 2 guys have been connected like Batman and Robin so far, but it's more the contentious relationship between Batman and Robin and not the I'm just happy you took me off the streets. Again, look at Malarkey just making use of that outside, slams down, doesn't cut as much of the track.
Yellow,
and like you said, that front nose is just able to guide Malarkey around and maintain that speed. Did you say caution?
I thought I saw a caution. I thought I saw the flag. Yeah, there it is. There it is. I saw the flagman waving it, but it took a while for it to come out on the track. Not sure
signaling you.
What the incident is.
Signaling you first. He was like, "Hey, I'm about to do this."
All right,
he was
pause your stuff. I'm going to try to find what happened here.
So we're taking a look at what may have happened. Oh, it was this the 855 of Gerald Rose. Did he bring out our first caution of the day?
Ooh, look at that.
Or his first caution, I mean. Here we go. Let's take a look at Rose here. This is 2, collected so many victims today. Very tricky corner. Car looks loose on exit, and I'm assuming that thing just went around. Yeah. And yes, back up the track. Ooh. That's the scary moment right there. Luckily didn't collect another victim.
Hit the brakes, buddy.
I was told there was another.
He's wiggling it right there.
There may be a separate incident on the track, me and James.
Yeah, I would have thought there would have, because he was still rolling.
He was rolling and he wasn't facing the wrong direction. So I think that likely wasn't the cause of the caution. Yeah, I'm not really seeing too much either.
The only thing I show is 8:55.
Well, nonetheless, this will definitely
Let's give him credit for it. Let's give him credit.
Yeah, he deserves it.
That's a Pennzoil caution.
Yes, it is. But nonetheless, this will be an interesting moment. That wasn't a very long run, 11-lap run for these boys. So I wouldn't think you'd pit Mean Gene, but there we go. I think that's a 73 of Malarkey. Bring it in. Because what you could do, Mean Gene, if we get another yellow, this right here, if you top off on fuel, could be enough with another yellow to make it to the end of this race. So this could be your last pit stop.
Yeah, so let's see here. They're at lap 80 right now, and we're going to 130. So 50 laps could be a push.
Man, my math sucks.
I'm wondering about tires, though. I'm wondering about tires. Like to just have an extra set of tires sitting in the pits. Let's say if there's a caution with 15 to go, 10 to go.
Definitely. And I just want to shout out how bad I am at math. I wonder how crazy the YouTube chat was going when I was saying that 130 minus 70 was 50. Jesus. What is wrong with me?
It's fine. It's fine. We don't have any math majors except for maybe Nutmeg Steak guy.
Yeah, maybe him.
Those guys up there, they math it.
They are mathing. They be mathing. But Medina leaving it out here. I mean, the majority of our top runners not super interested in pitting yet. I don't think that'll be our last caution, Mean Gene. This racing is only going to get more intense. So I understand thinking I'm going to have another opportunity to bring it down.
Yeah, confidence has to be pretty high, especially for the drivers that haven't been caught up in anything. It's never going to happen to me. And that's what we think, you're leaving the bar, you've had a few to drink. Not me. And I think that's what a lot of drivers here, they got that courage going for them. It's early in the morning, so it's just caffeinated courage. But it's still liquid courage. And they're thinking they can get around. I'm just curious. Who's really got to be happy on this? Joe Vulpes. He's finally got that 73 away from him. He's got a little bit more clean air. But guess what he's dealing with? He's dealing with the big three of Medina and Jared Kelly. Right behind him, a hungry Brandon Shelton as well. So these are guys that have been running fast all year long. But Vulpes has got to be thrilled. And how about his Gulf Coast buddy, David Owens, in 7th? So 2 Gulf Coast guys up there. You got some Folcom guys up there. They're ready to show down here.
Yeah, that's going to be, interesting for Vulpes, getting to race around a kind of a different set of characters, at least start differently. But yeah, the big three, really not a better word for those three. They have been in control of this entire race. Every restart, we've seen these guys 1, 2, 3. This one, no different. We'll see what Kelly wants to do here, too. That's who I'm really looking at, to see if he can capture second place as we go green. Medina, like a cannon, off to first place, or out in first place. Here we go.
And you can see all those cars still shooting down there. Those tires have warmed up a little bit, and guys that stayed out there shouldn't have too much trouble maneuvering that car around. Not brand new tires, but hey, they're good enough to put down some hot laps. You can see right there, Medina, Kelly, Landry getting close.
Yeah, the 55 and the 56 almost coming together there. The 56 carrying way more momentum on entry than the 55 did. That was a close moment between Kelly and Landry. We'll see if that happens again, as Kelly trying to get some distance away from Landry and set his sights on the 9. But man, this racing is intense, and you're right. We're going to start seeing the slightly newer tires, I'm assuming, come in sooner rather than later. With the lack of cars in the lead lap, they were already starting with pretty good track position.
Yeah, if you did take tires, though, you got to be wondering how happy you are to be back there. Somebody like Justin Malarkey, he's back in 12th now. He's in the middle of all of that soup. Sure, you got new tires, but you also got 11 guys swerving in front of you on older tires, and who knows who's going to go under that apron and not come back.
Yeah, I'm watching Malarkey now, trying to make quick work of this field, but kind of struggling as shit. Whoa, man, just so much going on in front of him as the 12 got in super, super deep. We're seeing that happen a lot now. A lot of different entry speeds going into the last corner of this racetrack as, oh, man, Kevin Kyle gets super, super loose below Malarkey, able to gather it up. Amazing save by Kyle, but wow, that was a big moment from the 31.
Yeah, that Fulcum driver, Kevin Kyle, he went down a little bit low. He did manage to come up. A little bit of wall contact as we're seeing cameras trying to catch all the action. Side by side, you can see Mandela now. As Mandela, he had a little bit of an incident, pushed him back. He's 19th place at the moment, but he's still running up there fast. There's Matt Schofield. That's another strong driver. He's in 15th at the moment, but that guy in Mandela in a hot battle at the moment.
Yeah, Mandela also looking like a couple laps down here. If my data is correct. Yes, he is. So Mandela with some issues. Man, that guy had so much speed, but just not having the luck to show for it. But we're going to have our eye on him all season. Medina already pulling out a little bit of a lead here as well, me and Gene. He's already got almost a second lead on Kelly. This guy is going to be so hard to beat today, as it looks like the 55, the 56 of Landry and Medina are going to be racing each other before they're able to catch that 9 as he looks at the inside there. Oh, I hear a caution.
Could be.
Oh, I could be wrong.
I think that flag man just likes you. He's just waving at you periodically.
Literally, I think he is. He needs to cut it out.
What's his name? Do you know the flag guy's name?
Barry, right?
All right. Well, that's the problem. You know him. I don't even know his name.
Yep.
No wonder he's not trying to talk to me.
I had the inside information again, me and Gene. The caution does come out. And look at Medina already ducking into the pits. Look at that. Not the same advantage that he had last time, but trying to get these set of tires on. This will give Owens the lead, it looks like. David Owens staying out. The 73 of Malarkey staying out as well. That one's not surprising. But the 11, I don't think Owens... No, he is going to be on 20 lap old tires.
Yeah, but he'll also have a ton of cars between him and the big 3. So that might be a great move for him. You can't just play the same strategy as a guy who's got a faster car than you. Medina was faster in practice. He was faster in qualifying. He was faster last time they were on this track 2 years ago. So, hey, why not roll the dice and take a chance? Hey, look, there's a guy getting his fast lap back. There goes that rookie 855.
Yes.
He'll be your lucky dog. But, hey, why not take that risk and try to get up there and play a different strategy? And look who else it's
Speaking of, yeah.
for, because that second place now is the 73 Malarkey. So, yeah, they're on older tires, but that caution came out and ended up saving these boys and pushing them up just a little bit further. And, hey, look, Fulcum, remember we said Kevin Kyle almost wrecked, and now, magically, the guy's in third place. And this thing is going to allow his tires to cool right back off.
And the 55 of Kelly beat the 9 of Medina off pit road. Same pit times... Essentially, I'm waiting to see Medina's. Hold on just a sec. Okay. Yeah, it's at 0.2 seconds. So just better job on and out, or in and out of his stall. Jared Kelly able to get past Medina in the pits. So there's another way you can pass the 9. So this is going to be interesting, Mean Gene. Like you said, a lot of cars between the leaders and the guys that we've seen controlling this race all day. These are the type of pit situations that can turn this race upside down. Just to, before we go green, to go over the tire situations for your guys' leaders. Owens has 22 laps on his tires. Malarkey 11, Kyle 11, Lanat 10, Smorrel is the first one with only 2 tires. Only 2 laps on his tires. So he has the newest tires, but he only took 2. That's how he got in front of the 55 of Kelly and the 9 of Medina, and that's when the 4 tires start. So the first fresh 4 tires are at 55 of Jared Kelly.
Yeah, going to be cool to see how these different strategies end up affecting these cars on this restart.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot to pay attention to. I'm really keeping my eye on that 11 of Owens. He's going to be in the danger zone. Also, the 31 of Kyle. The car that was outside of Lanat. These guys are on older tires. They're going to have a hard time holding off the guys behind them. As here we go, ready to go green. Look for the tire spin as well. Owens leads them to the green. From the outside, first time we've seen the outside be the line chosen by the leader, as Owens still uses the dog leg, uses that run, and gets a nice sizable gap going into 2.
Really smart move there, and look at him just shut down hard and gets a big run. Oh, they tighten up behind him. That was really exciting.
Yeah, they are 3 wide behind him as Medina already working his way into 4th. Already got Kelly just behind Lynott. They are all over the track behind him. You see Kelly on the outside there. There is tons of action on this track, and this is when you gotta go. 3 wide with Landry on the inside, Solely on the outside, making a sandwich out of the 5 of Smorl. Smorl on those 2 tires, really struggling to keep the car straight.
Yeah, and you could see Buddy Sully also involved in all of that. Shoulders got to be burning, but there's no way that 21 is going to give up his position right now. But the story at the moment, David Owens and Justin Malarkey making those older tires work. They've got that lead, but Medina closing the gap. He's only a couple of seconds behind currently. He is running in 4th place now.
Yep, and could be 3rd soon here as Medina looking to the inside of Lynott, looking to make quick work of him. Medina really doing a great job of quickly getting through this field, using that tire advantage while he has it, and it's only going to get easier from here as he has the 20-lap tires of Owens and the 11-lap older tires of Malarkey. These should be somewhat easy passes, but Owens had a great restart, and that's given him a pretty nice lead to be able to have a chance here. We'll see how long this takes Medina as he goes to the inside, but could be 3 wide here in turn 2.
Yeah, but that dirty air is going to be an issue. Side by side, Owens with Malarkey. Now that will give the opportunity for Medina to close the gap. Kevin Kyle, Fokum driver, Gulf Coast driver right behind him. So we can see Fokum and Gulf Coast all in the middle of it. Wow. And then we can see Malarkey try to make it happen for himself as well.
The 73 and the 11 almost getting together into turn 4 there, sending the 11 of Owens all the way up the track, costing him quite a bit of time, and Medina taking full advantage, and I think he may be able to get the lead here. Wow, really, really close moment as Medina slides up the track almost into the 7-3 Malarkey. Malarkey having to check up a little bit to give him the space he needs. Medina still able to get enough momentum to complete the pass. The 9 back to the lead. That did not take long.
Yeah, he's just chilling in the crib. And he got those new tires, and now he just powers him right back up top. That chance, Owens had to take it. It might not pay off at this moment, but you had to try to change the strategy up, and that's what he did right there. Ooh, a little bit of contact.
Into the wall.
Lynott making contact with Shelton, and that sends, not Shelton, was that Sully that got sent up in the wall?
Couldn't tell there. It looked like it was either Sully or Shelton. It may have been Sully. Yeah, definitely sent one of those cars up into the wall. Pretty nice hit there. Hopefully not too much damage. Trying to look at the left sides of these cars, see who has damage.
Was it Showboat? It might have been Showboat in the 55 got hit.
Could have been. Yeah, it looks like it is, as Kelly still struggling to get the car around the track, actually looking like he actually is suffering from some damage. The right side looks okay. I'm not seeing too much damage. He almost gets in the 2 of Shelton there, sending Shelton down the track. Crazy moment there between the 55 and the 2. Shelton able to gather it back up. Shelton has had so many close calls today, most of them not his own doing. Really, really had his head in a swivel. Done a great job keeping that car pointed straight.
Yeah, I remember week 1, Brandon Shelton caught in an early wreck, took him out at Kentucky. But here today, he is trying to keep it on the straight and narrow. Currently, though, hard charger, you got to look up, and that is Kyle Lynott, up 13 spots, running in 5th place. So he is piloting as best he can to make it work for him in that 988.
Yeah, Lynott on one of those cars on the older tires, but he definitely knows how to drive on older tires. He's a great at it, but look at how sketchy that car is on the exits of corners. You can see it wiggling all the way out of 4. Pretty much had to take the dog leg, not wanting to upset that car, put too much more steering input into it. But Lynott, nonetheless, running far better than he was before taking this risk on tire strategy. So far, a net gain for Lynott, and just trying to minimize the damage and minimize the disadvantage he's at to the cars behind him on fresher tires.
Yeah, all he's got to do is make it to another possible caution. Again, we're not fully aware of how many sets of tires that people have, but as he's counting down, there's 28 laps to go. If there's another caution in the next 5 or 10 laps, it sure would be nice to have that sweet, sweet extra set of freshies waiting for you.
Yeah, it would definitely be huge, and it could make or break who wins this race. It's going to be really interesting. Like guys like Medina with 50 laps to go when he brought the car in, I don't think he can make it on fuel. So they're really going to have to decide, like we talked about when I thought they were 50 to go, if they want to run this thing dry or split it 25-25. Guys like Owens have their race a lot more simple at this point with, staying out now on a 33-lap run. They can just bring it in whenever they can make it to the end of the race. So I'm assuming maybe 7-8 more laps until we start seeing guys like Owens and Lynott bring it in for their last pit stop and still having an extra set of tires waiting for them if we do get another caution. So good situation for them. It's definitely going to be more complicated for guys like Medina.
Yeah, it's terrifying though, thinking about if you come in for the pit stop and there could be another caution at any moment. 18 cars on the lead lap at the moment. Those other guys, a lot of them were caught up in that big second caution. They took out 6 cars, slowed those guys down. But still, this side by side racing and slamming it down. We're 20 plus laps on a lot of these tires. You go down below that apron, you could come right back up and take some people. Side by side right now, Buddy Sully, Sam Milliken really making a heck of a great race. That's your race for 5th place, and that's going to allow David Owens to pull away just a little bit. But Owens, he's got a little bit of if he thinks he's going to chase down the big 3.
I mean, yeah, he doesn't really have a chance in this tire situation, but he has definitely been the guy who has won the most from that strategy. He's still in 4th place. He has a nice gap to Sully and Malarkey behind him. Malarkey also has older tires, not as old as Owens, but not as new as Sully. So he's been using that to keep Malarkey behind him. So Owens really has done a fantastic job of protecting these tires enough to where he's gained a lot of track position out of it, track position that I think he would have had a harder time otherwise gaining.
You know, a guy we were talking about a whole ton, we're not right now. How about Joe Volpus? He's fallen back into 15th place. Do you have the data when Joe last pitted? And if so, did he take tires? Is he just on a different strat than the other Gulf Coast teammate drivers? That guy was up at the front all day.
I think Volpus may have collected some damage that we did not see because Volpus had a 41-second pit stop the last time he brought it in, which tells me that he was getting some damage repaired. So that definitely is where he lost the track position on a long pit stop like that. Is I'm seeing the car slow down. We definitely have another yellow out here.
Yeah,
wonder what
I'm
happened
on
here.
the radio. 7 minutes. Volpus did get caught up, and I'm hearing that he had 7 minutes of damage on that car.
There you go. And our yellow is out, and Owens already bringing it in, the 56 bringing it in as well. That one's kind of surprising to see Landry bringing it in. He wants to use that last set of tires now. I think understanding that Owens was going to be at an advantage and not wanting to let that happen. So the 56 of Landry making his bed here, he will not have an extra set of tires to go back on if we are to get a caution with, say, 15-10 to go.
That could be really difficult right now, though. You can't think about that. You just got to think, all right, this is it. This is the last one, and we're going to go green. You can't hold back anything. 22 laps to go. Once we go green again, iRacing has shortened the caution times. But once we go green again, you have to think it's going to be a 20-lap shootout, and you can't hold back tires. 20 laps, that's plenty to use your last freshies on, I would think.
It's such a double-edged sword, me and Gene, because it is the most helpless feeling ever if you're a Landry and we get a caution with 10 to go and you see the rest of the field. Let's say there's 15 cars in the lap, right? And you see 12 of them pit to put on 4 tires that you don't have. You are just thinking, oh my God, I can't do anything. I'm a sitting duck. And whether or not I had the speed to win this race, I can't anymore. However, on the other side of that, on the flip side of that, oh my gosh, I don't know if there's anything more frustrating than a race ending and knowing I had an extra set of tires in the pits and I never got to use them. And
or how about this? I'm getting data right now. Gerald Rose is pitting. He's taking 4 freshies and he's still got another set. So maybe he should have thought about using them earlier when he was doing those 360s.
I mean, at the same time, Gerald Rose is still in the lead lap, so no harm, no foul. You have an extra set. You have the ability now to have a set of tires that can give you that extra boost of speed to get spots on cars for 15th and 14th, cars that you normally wouldn't be able to pass. So I should like that.
I teased him earlier, but he is currently the highest running rookie. That's funny.
Hey, that's great. At a truck like that is nothing to sneeze at. That's not easy to do. As we're getting ready to go green, caution, or I'm sorry, pace car off the track. Medina, again, leading the field. This time he's going to have Jared Kelly on his outside. This is the first time we've seen these two together. It's been the 56 for most of today. Maybe actually we've seen Kelly once. I'm losing track. But then behind them, we got Buddy Sully and Shelton. Those two have been glued to each other this whole race. In terms of tires, the same tire situation first through fourth. And then from there on, Mean Gene, we got freshies. Kevin Kyle, Landry, Owens, Malarkey, all on freshies.
So Landry, the first of the big 3 on freshies, and Owens as well as him. And here we go.
Yes, Medina leaves him. Oh, Medina got loose in that dog leg. He did a great job gathering it up. He is so good that you could barely tell, but that was a moment, me and Gina. Trust me, that was. Medina felt that. That thing got sideways in transition. You can see him still trying to gather it up, not having the momentum he's had through 2 all day. That was sketchy.
Well, look at Shelton right there is slowing down the advancing cars of Kevin Kyle and David Owens. So I think that's some of the tire thing that you're talking about. Guys willing to take chances, others not. Jared Kelly closes the gap on second place, Buddy Sully. That makes him slow down. So a lot of accordion going on. 4 wide in the apron. Let's see him pinch back together.
That is such a cool visual. And like you said, pitch it back together to end up being 2x2. That was Owens, Landry, Shelton, and Kevin Kyle putting on a show for us. That was awesome. And Kevin Kyle, he's on fresh tires, Mean Gene, but look how difficult to drive cold tires are. The 31 really showing the effects of cold tires. He just cannot keep that thing. Look at that. It's so loose. It wants to go down to the bottom. He's having a hard time keeping that car underneath him. It's creating these 3 wide situations. Here we go again.
And then they pinch right back together. Look at that. You could throw a blanket over those 7 cars right there as we are watching some serious racing action. David Owens, he's on fresh as he wants to get through this thing. He's got Jason Landry in there with him as well. Justin Malarkey, Christopher Smorell. So a lot of big names. Oh, contact right there. Smorell right into the back of Malarkey. Going to take him up the track, and that's going to let Kyle Lynott make a move underneath Malarkey, the big loser out of the kayak.
What a recovery from the 73 of Malarkey. He just got packed. He got sent up the track so hard. I cannot believe he may have grazed the wall, but nothing notable. Such a good recovery from the 73. That was way too deep, way too hot by the 5 of Smorell. I'm sure he's apologizing to the 73 for that, but ooh, that was a big moment there. And is also in front of them. Owens trying to get everything he can right now. Kevin Kyle doing a wonderful job holding them all off. These guys know they have the best tire situation. These positions are everything right now.
No.
And that was loose. No, loose to the inside, back up the track, but able to save it. No caution yet.
That was a really tense moment right there. He managed to keep it off. No contact, no fast repair. So you don't want to be doing that right now. This race still going on right now. Look at this. David Owens, he's got to get by Kevin Kyle if he wants to do anything. But right now, Kyle, Folcom team member, blocking the pack for his boy David Medina. And that basically opens up the door for Sully and Kelly to battle between those 3 guys to see what they can be. But look at this move by Owens going underneath, just powering around in that number 11 Nas Ford to finally get past Kevin Kyle, and now he can set his sights on the cars in front of him. Kelly next in his target, but David Medina has a really good lead, and he's got the same he's got the older tires as well. I think is Owens the first guy on the fresher tires?
Now he is. Yes, that's going to do it for Owens. It was Kyle. Now it's Owens. Owens, yeah, like you said, that was a massive move down the dog leg to complete that pass. He really sent it in. The transition point that he chose was one of the most violent and aggressive points, excuse me, to enter the dog leg. It didn't matter. He did a great job making that pass. And now he gets to set his sights on cars with 15, 16 lap older tires than him. That is a huge difference that he can take advantage of here.
He needs to eat these boys up quick. He can't wait. You wait too many laps, all of a sudden, any advantage that you had just will vanish as those tires become closer and closer into productivity and grip. But look at the gap as he continues. Medina trying to keep it up in front. Next car in front of David Owens, Jared Kelly. He's going to cut down low, do a little peak. Not a block, but that was enough to slow him down. Let's see the acceleration of Owens as he is slamming it down.
Yeah, he is. Owens really using that dog leg, and he should. You've got to use these tires up. You can see Kelly doing a good job defending, but he just cannot hug the bottom of the track with any sense of confidence or anything close to what the 11 can do, or really what any of these cars behind him would be able to do. It's going to be hard for Kelly to hold on to that track position. I could see him falling all the way to around 10th, as Owens now all the way up to 3rd place, setting his sights on the 21 of Sully and then the 9 of Medina, putting down much faster laps than those 2 are. So this is Owens to take here. This strategy, like we thought, has worked out for him beautifully.
12 to go right now. Gulf Coast driver David Owens trying to shut him down. He's got 2 of the 3 big 3 behind him, but he's got the biggest one of all. He's got King Kong. He's got Godzilla up in the front. David Medina. Look how quick he closes on Buddy Sully. That shoulder's got to be screaming on the 21 driver. And again, Owens just slamming it down on the apron, trying to make a move on the 21 driver, eats him up as well. I don't think that it's an apron anymore. I think that's David Owens' private driveway.
It really is becoming that. And Owens, what he's doing and how he's using those fresh tires to perfection right now is he's going places everyone else can't. That 21 just doesn't have the grip anymore to go that low in the track. He doesn't have the grip to hug the bottom and start that low the way Owens can. So Owens just putting them in situations that are legitimately impossible to defend. That's just so well done. And that's why these passes are looking so easy for the 11 of Owens, is he only has one more car left. It's the Nina Medina. It's obviously going to be the hardest one he's made all day. And he only has 9 laps to do it. Can David Owens get this done?
Yeah, that tire wear, though, is becoming an issue. Medina has got to be thinking, I've got to play triage right here. I've got to let my tires cool off before Owens gets to me. Because if I can't slam it down on the apron, as you see both of those drivers doing right there, he's just going to get destroyed. Meanwhile, behind him, Jason Landry puts that move on Buddy Sully. Buddy Sully not going down under the apron. I imagine that shoulder is in extra pain at this moment as he's continuing to ride that outside lane and not really make battle with the cars that get close to him.
Yeah, Landry also in the same tire situation as Owens. Really also probably thinking if Owens can get to Medina and can't complete the pass, I got to be there to take advantage of if Owens gets caught up. So Landry doing a great job staying with Owens, also taking advantage of the tire situation. He's going to give himself a chance to win this race as well. But yeah, Buddy Sully, just not too much you can do with him. Sure, the pain he's in, the tire situation he's in. Nonetheless, he's doing great. He's minimizing damage. Like we kind of anticipated, Jared Kelly continuing to fall down the field, already down to 7th on the same tire situation as Sully. So all things considered, 4th, not that bad for the 21.
No, good job right now by Buddy Sully. Had that burner of a qualifier, so know he had the right car. It's just his body. Can the shoulder keep up with what's going on out there? Justin Malarkey running 5th.
Caution's out. Oh, no, caution's out.
Whoa, who's got tires?
Oh, no. Yeah, that's going to be huge.
Out?
I'm going to guess. Oh, God, do you pit or do you not, Mean Gene? I don't know. I don't know. I don't envy these guys. I hate situations like this when I'm in the race, especially if you're someone like David Medina. What do you do here? You see Owens trying to pull Medina into the pits, already faking low. I think Owens wants him to pit, and I think Owens wants to stay out.
We're having a party. Come with me.
Yep. Let's see here. Look for the fakes. Pits are open, I believe.
That's got to be Joe Volpus. He's the last car in the lead lap back in 16th.
There's Medina and Owens fakes, just like I said. Wow, did I call that or did I call that?
He said, "You go, I go later."
The pump fake by David Owens.
The pump fake.
That's how I won in my first league race, me and Gene. And me and David have done that to each other more times than I can count. It's a fun thing to do. So David Owens, this is a great situation for him. Medina, while he did pay, he's going to have fresh tires. A lot of cars stayed out, Mean Gene. I don't think Medina is going to be in the top 10.
Well, if he can get it on Bang a Gong the same way that we saw Landry cut through traffic and Kevin Kyle, he'll be just fine.
Yeah, that took more laps than we have left, though, Mean Gene.
So we'll just have to see. I mean, also, maybe he just felt like he was about to get destroyed and didn't want to take that chance.
I think it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, like
all of them, Kelly, Medina, and Sully all went in.
Yeah, all the guys on the 33 lap old tires. Also, we didn't talk too much about this. Maybe they need that caution. They were on 33, or I think at that point 34 lap old tires. They may have been in a questionable fuel situation, so they may have not had a choice there. But so they may have been seeing that caution and thought, "Thank God, I don't have to pit into green anymore."
Wow! Look at this restart position, 11th.
Called it. I told you.
12th for Sully, 13th for Kelly, 14th for Shelton. Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to be wrong about that, me and Gene. I wanted to be wrong. I wanted him to restart like 8th, but nope. A lot of cars, understandably, stayed out there. Yeah, I'm scoring Medina. Yeah, brutal. In 11th place. This is Owens' race to lose at this point. He has a great gap. We only have 4 to go. We're going to have 3 to go when we go green. It's all about holding off the 56 of Landry, the 73 of Malarkey, I apologize, and Smorrell in that number 5 car. Smorrell, I believe, does now 4.
David Brenner. David Brenner's running pretty good today, too.
What a recovery for Brenner. We saw him in the inside wall earlier today, and now is in 5th place with a chance to win this thing. Great job by Brenner. It looks like he even got the damage fixed from that car looking pretty good.
Speaking of recovery, look at Ricky Mandela Sr. The guy was 2 laps down a little while ago, back on lead lap.
Oh, that's awesome, Mandela, man. That guy, look for him. So here we go, last time. Or not last time, but here we go.
Oh,
David Owens, Landry. I know, I probably did. Green flag as Owens leads them for 3-lap shootout to decide who gets this thing. Owens all the way down the dog leg. Smart move by the 11, trying to get away from this field as quick as he can. And Medina needs to make the fastest work of this field as he possibly can, all the way back from 11th. We'll see if he can play into the finish of this race.
Morrell fades just a little bit, and that's going to allow Malarkey and Landry to pull away. Lynott starting to fade. Puckett trying not to get into the back of him. Christopher Morrell. That's going to let David Brenner get up into 4th place. But right now it's David Owens putting on a show. This could be his opportunity to lay down a big dub.
17 is around, or not the 17, the car running the 17 is around, but it was off the racing surface, and that was with Medina and Sully. They were involved in that, Mean Gene. That was going to cost them the race. They're not going to have a chance at this. All Owens has to do is get to the white flag, and the next flag will end it. And it looks like no one's going to have anything for the 11 as he comes and takes the white flag the last time around here at Phoenix Raceway.
And he is on fire right now, banging it down on the apron. Look at them, 3-4 wide in the back. Oh, close to contact. Really strong race in the back. David Brenner, good. Malarkey, Smurrell, Lynott. But the story, as you said, David Owens.
Yes, David Owens going on an alternate strategy, having tires when they matter, doing a masterful job of working through the field and bringing it home for his first win of the season. Race 3 belongs to the 11 of David Owens, wins it at Phoenix Raceway as the 5 spins across the line.
Wow, David Owens, he beats the big 3. Jason Landry is going to finish in 2nd. Great run. Justin Malarkey 3rd, David Brenner 4th, and David Medina makes his way up to 5th place. Not a bad job after that restart.
How did he do that, Mean Gene? He was like in a little incident, and I thought that Medina was kind of out of luck there. To even bring home a top 5 is impressive. We talked about how important points racing is in this league, so good damage minimization there. As the 55 and the 56 get into each other in the pits. Maybe some hurt feelings in this race, Mean Gene.
Nah, they'll hammer it out. Nobody's wearing Daisy Dukes, and no one brought their dad.
Yep, good. Exactly. Let's look at our top 10 or our finishing results here. David Owens, first win of the season. Congratulations. Jason Landry, we saw him there all day, able to bring it home second. A great finish for him nonetheless. Another one that we saw in the top 5 all day with the podium finish, Justin Malarkey. David Brenner, 4th, and Medina, like we talked about, in 5th place. 6th belonging to Kyle Lynott. 7th with Smorley, we saw spinning across the start-finish line. Jared Kelly in 8th. Shelton in 9, and Dennis Puckett rounding out our top 10.
Wow, how about Joe Volpes? He manages to milk that car around to finish 11th. Matt Schofield's going to finish 12th. Hard Charger, the most improved from their starting position. Rookie, 855, Gerald Rose. He's going to finish in 13th. That is your top rookie for the day. Buddy Sully manages to bring it home in 14th with a busted shoulder. And Ricky Mandela Sr., a little bit of trouble there at the end. That is 15th place.
Yeah, Buddy Sully, I think of that little incident we saw with the 17 or whatever their number is at the end. I think Buddy Sully probably got the worst of that. And we see it there. As then behind him, we have Mandela. A great, again, lead lap recovery to bring it home 15th. Peltz in 16th. Great job from him. Leclerc in 17th and Buell in 18th. And that is, Buell will be the first car 4 laps down, the first car not on the lead lap. So the rest of the way, we pretty much just have what we like to call the used car lot, me and Gene. And that is kind of what we expected today at a track like Phoenix Raceway. Very, very difficult. We saw a lot of big moments, a lot of wrecks that could have collected more cars than they did. So all things considered, having that many cars off the lead lap, not as bad as it really could have been. But man, this race delivered. To be totally honest, me and Gene, after last week at Vegas, it is always really fun to watch someone like Medina come and put a beat down the field and to see a sim racing field of 31 not put down a caution. But I'm not gonna lie, I love hectic races. I love chaos, and that was fun.
I mean, especially when you're going down on the apron like that. We saw 5 wide, and then they all try to pinch back together like that. But really wonderful, the chaos on the track. But how about the chaos off the track as you see all those different strategies coming to fruition of people thinking, okay, there's 32 to go. I'm going to save tires. Oh, now it's 20. I'm going to use them. And then suddenly you find out there's a pit stop, come another caution just a little bit later, giving people those opportunities, and especially David Owens, lap 125, not pitting. If anything, I'm going to have to call that my Mean Gene Money move of the race.
Yeah, I would definitely say that was a huge moment of the race. And Owen so often is able to do stuff like that, where at the moment when you see him do it, you're like, well, that's peculiar. And then what do you know? 20 to go, and he has fresher tires than everybody else. He did a great job getting through the field. I mean, that really is it. We're giving a lot of credit to Owens' strategy there, but he is the one that had to drive through the field with those fresh tires. He had to pass cars on the same tire situation as him that had been faster than him all day, and he was able to do it and maintain that track position and get it done on the restarts. So you really can't take anything away from him, even with that strategy. I'm sure someone like David Medina right now, man, I mean, I'm going to do some quick math. I'm going to assume he led at least 100 laps today. So that's 100, or I'm sorry, that's 215-ish laps led in 2 races and not a win to show for it. That is so frustrating, but still a good points day for him in 5th place.
Yeah, he can't complain. Medina, still though, it's just fascinating to see how dominant he could be in practice, qualifying. Even last year, same scenario. He didn't finish second; he finished 5th this year. But 2 years ago at Vegas, the guy's the most dominant thing on the track. He is the apex predator, and then yet gets caught up at the end. This time though, he was just out strategized. Is that a word? Out strategized?
Yeah, it is now. It is now.
The way that it just went down there at the end, that just gave Owens the opportunity to lay laps. And Owens was fast all day. That whole Gulf Coast team, you could see Brenner finishing up there in 4th place. Unfortunate day for Joe Vulpes with the damage to his car, but still bringing it home in 11th with a car with 7 minutes of damage. That's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it really is. I mean, we talked about it probably halfway through the race where I mentioned, man, I think if you could just keep your car clean enough to sit in the lead lap, you might be able to get yourself a top 15. And you see that with guys like Vulpes, Gerald Rose, and he was getting lapped early in the race, and he was able to keep the car clean, get those laps back on the cautions we got with Lucky Dogs, and that was enough to bring home a 13th place in a field of 28. That is very, very impressive for the rookie. So, yeah, this was definitely one of those races where if you didn't have Landry, Malarkey, Owens, Medina, Brenner, Smorrell, Jared Kelly's speed, then just keep it clean and you can get yourself a really good finish. And a lot of drivers prioritized that today, and they got to reap the rewards of that. And that was really cool to see, and not surprised in this field that we saw, like, again, keep it clean at Vegas last week. So not super surprising. But very, very cool nonetheless. Very fun to watch. And just yet another great race, but a very different vibe than we had last week. And I very much welcomed it. I'm not gonna lie, I very much welcomed that type of race.
Since we're at Vegas, you ready to hit the jackpot?
Oh yes, sir.
I got a jackpot surprise for you. Guess what I have waiting for you?
Oh, we have a race winner here, don't we?
I got a race winner. I'm gonna pull him in for you. Here it is.
Let's get him here. David Owens, probably still catching your breath. Congratulations on the win. Awesome drive today.
Oh, thanks, fellas. It was definitely not one of my greatest tracks, so it definitely was all had to come down to strategy.
Yeah, this is a track that I wouldn't say a bad track for you, but one where it's an opportunity sometimes to beat you for me. So yeah, it was a great job at the end. But you may have heard me say it. It wasn't just strategy, though. You had to really, really get through the field, and one of those later restarts, you had to get by Landry the hard way on the same tire situation. So take me through that restart and what you were thinking with, I think it was about 50 to go when you took those tires.
I just had to be, I knew from the beginning, I'm not going to beat, it's hard to beat Medina and Landry just off pure speed. So I knew I had to get off sequence of the strategy, and I will give credit to that. Is you're not going to win the race on the same strategy as the leaders. It was given to me as an advice by Nick Mills, so I got to give that one to him. Following some advice from a veteran in the league. So then I knew once I did that, save a little bit of tire, then be aggressive when it had to be, and that's what needed to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. What were I mean? I called it. I think it's just because I've raced you so many times, but I knew you were faking on that last one. But what were you thinking in terms of Medina? Were you wanting to suck him into the pits and just be like, just get behind me? I don't want to think about it, even if you have clean tires? Or were you actually hoping for him to stay out and be a sitting duck on 20-ish lap older tires?
If he stayed out, it was going to be working out for my favor, I think, regardless, because then I could have the opportunity to set it up for a pass. But my main goal was to kind of fake and see if I could make others stay out if they saw the leaders pitting, so that I knew, because I already made a moment I wasn't pitting. So if I could get others to think, okay, leaders are pitting, we're going to stay out, we can put enough space between them. And that was my goal, was to try to get at least 10 to 15 cars to stay out, to where Medina had to work his way through the field.
Smart, really, really smart. And yeah, Medina definitely today, especially, seemed like one of those guys where you weren't going to do it on speed. You had to find something else. You had to offset something, and you found a way. Brilliant job. And yeah, you made it work, man. So great job. And I'm great. I'm super grateful I was finally able to call a race that you won. I was starting to wonder that if I was a curse as a broadcaster for you. Clearly I'm not. I'm glad that you were able to get it done. And how's that feel, man? Because I know you didn't have the season you wanted in our sister league in MRL last year. Still had a chance at the championship, but never visited Victory Lane. So how's it feel to get back in Victory Lane in a next-gen car?
Oh, it feels great. And it's always a good feeling to win on Sunday here in Bonfire, because it's such a competitive league. Tough guys, Medina, Landry, Jared, Nick Mills, Joey Stiers, all these guys that are up front week in and week out with us. Just, it's so much more satisfying to be able to beat them, because it's how competitive it is. So it's real good to do that. And yeah, not being able to get a win last season was a bummer, but still be competitive. And after this weekend, I needed this win because our Daytona 24 didn't go the way we wanted it to. So to be able to end the weekend on a high note like this is very satisfying for us in Gulf Coast Racing.
Yeah, that 24 didn't go the way a lot of people were. I don't think a lot of people were anticipating rain, and that was funny. But yeah, congrats on today, Owens. Great job, man. Excited to see what you can do tomorrow in the MRL. It's going to be a fun time watching you there, and you'll be riding momentum, and usually you with momentum is a dangerous thing. So great job, man. Can't wait to watch you again. Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Shout out to my teammates, David Brenner, Joel Vulpes, Kyle Lynott, just for, sticking around and making Sundays great every morning. I think we all did pretty well recovery-wise for the issues that they did have. Then shout out to you guys up here in the booth, between Buddy, Kyle, you, and Gerald Rose here. Mean Gene. We can't put us league on with the broadcast without you guys. Then shout out to Ricky Purnell for sponsoring the broadcast with Fokum. So great shout out to all those guys. So, and special shout out to Dennis Bucket for him and his brother putting this on for us.
All right. Thank you so much, David. We will talk to you soon, man. You have a great rest of your Sunday.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good one.
Well, there was your winner, Mean Gene. Always great to hear from Owens. I was excited. It was really, really interesting to hear from him. I love the chess that dude plays when he's racing, thinking about trying to cold more cars out by doing a fake, not really even doing that fake geared towards Medina, but doing that fake towards making the race more frustrating and more difficult for Medina on the tail end. Just love stuff like that.
Yeah, really good strategy, and it just all fell into place. It's almost like he had a crystal ball tonight, and he was just able to use it to get to the end. Still had to make the moves, and he did. See him go down on that apron so hard, cut through that traffic to get into a position to finally make that little fake out, that pump fake, as you called it, on Medina and the rest of the field at the end to just take it home. Heck of a great day by David Owens, and he's going to punch his ticket into the playoffs, and can't wait to see what happens once we get there. Got to be nice for him to get it off of him.
No winning, you're in, right?
Oh, that's right. You got to earn it all year long.
You got to do the hard way out here. But hey, a win, what that does give you, Mean Gene, is a lot of bonus points, a lot of just points in general, oftentimes enough to maybe even take a race off and still make the playoffs when you have those wins. So it's nothing to ignore in terms of what it does do for your playoff situation. So nonetheless, very big for him. And I think more than anything, it's just a monkey off of David Owens' back. That dude was struggling the next gen car to get the success that we know he's capable of. And he's right, to do it in a league like this with so many exceptional drivers that feel honestly impossible to beat at times. you can take a ton of pride in that, and you can carry that on to other leagues and to this league for the rest of the season. Speaking of that, Mean Gene, we are, I got to shout out BRL, really caring about the hauler drivers and these teams, not making any of these drives too bad. We were in Vegas last week. We just had to make the short 6-hour drive to Phoenix to be here today. And then next week, we got another, 6-hour drive to Auto Club Speedway, California Speedway over in Fontana, the one that is no longer there, but we're going to race on it anyway. Mm-hmm. And that track is a 2 mile fast, loose, flatter than you'd think, super, super demanding, and just amazing track. I love that place. What are you thinking about next week, Mean Gene?
Well, a couple of things that come to mind is I'm wondering about Buddy Sully, how that shoulder is going to hold up on that flat track, and it's going to be faster than it was here today. So be curious to see if there's an accordion effect and how much the draft just sucks those cars right into each other. 28 guys started today. If we get a field that size or bigger, I think it might spread out. We can see some real fun drafting, but also the slamming accordion effect into those turns.
Yeah, I think the next gen drives the best on Auto Club. I remember in real NASCAR, if you want to call it that, Auto Club, when it did exist, I went to the first race on the next gens there, and that kind of back then that was kind of the first next gen race, Mean Gene, but in my eyes at least, because the ones before that were Daytona and just the duels. So you didn't really have a great feel for the car yet, and really what it was capable of on a super speedway. So we get to Auto Club, and I just remember that being an unbelievable race, easily the best race I've ever been to in person. And Auto Club did deliver every time from that point on the next gen. And I think the reason why is, like you talked about with the draft, it's so apparent in cars like the race truck and the Xfinity car, really the truck. It really feels like a drafting track on Auto Club normally, but on the next gen and the 5 gears versus 4, the flexibility you have, how difficult that car is to navigate around loose racetracks, and how important off throttle time is in the next gen really just works beautifully with that 2 mile flat racetrack to create really fast but intense and just super disciplined racing. You need to have really good on throttle and off throttle control, and getting greedy or getting impatient can cost you everything there. And I really don't think there's a better car that drives on that track than these next gens. So I'm super pumped for it. I think it's gonna be a great race.
Ooh, they'll be fiddling with the size of the brake rotors, and they'll be fiddling with that brake to make sure that they can lock it in. I'll tell you what, Zach, I just had a piece of paper handed to me with the driver standings after race number 3 here at Phoenix. And you want to guess who's up on top?
My guess is going to be, okay, where did Kelly finish? 8th. I'm going to guess that Kelly held on and then Medina. Am I right?
David
close.
Owens. David Owens.
David
Check
Owens.
him out.
That's
and then he's got to look at his teammate. Look, he got a teammate with him up there.
He does. That's looking good for Owens. I mean, that's what consistent finishes will do for you. And then you get that win. And like we said, a win will give you just an abundance of points and bonus points. And look what that will do for you. Get you the championship lead going into race 4.
Wow. So look at Gulf Coast. Got David Owens in first, David Brenner in second, Joe Vulpes in 8th. And then Kyle Lynott, remember, he missed one race. Guy's in 16th, jumps up 13 spots. He's the fastest, the biggest mover. So Gulf Coast Racing is really looking at getting 4 guys into those 12 spots. Then look right below him and you see Kelly, Medina, Kevin Kyle in 12th. So Folcom is making those same moves to put themselves in a position to be a part of the battle.
Definitely. It's wild that lap slide and stuff like that don't really count that much for points, because it's not looking at Medina in 4th there is pretty wild. When if you've watched the action on track and the story that this season has told, it's been a lot of Medina being dominant, but 4th place in the points right now, that is just crazy. Just goes to show how finishing the race where you've run it, essentially, how important that is and getting it done in the end. I'd expect that to kind of move around a little bit up top. I don't think it's going to take long for Medina to be in the top 3 and probably the lead, because it's still pretty tight up there. But yeah, still a ton to race for. All the way up to 15th, really 20th, if we're being honest. Me and Gene is just neck and neck, and it's going to be tough to make these playoffs.
Yeah, going to be really cool to see how this thing continues to develop. And this many drivers, 28 plus drivers, if you have a bad day, that could really kind of put you down in a hole. The first driver with only 2 starts, Kyle Lynott, a last place finish, could put you suddenly down on there. And the way that Kyle ran those 2 races, I expect him to be pushing his way up into that top 12 here really soon. And that's a lot to be said, because he's going to be trying to get by those drivers like, Matt Smith, Edward Peltz, Tommy Fox, guys that are consistently running in that top 15 anyway. So really exciting. The future is bright. I got to wear shades, and I cannot wait to see what happens when we hit Fontana next week.
Yeah, I really can't wait. Me and Gene, still so much to play for. So many comers and goers coming through this field. I think a lot of guys who have ran into bad luck that we haven't really seen their full potential yet, what they're capable of. Someone like Mandela sticking out to me when I say that. So yeah, I'm excited for next week. It's going to be a great track for these drivers, a great opportunity for them to show off what they're capable of, earn some points, put themselves back in the playoff conversation, and definitely a place to get a win if your name is not Medina. Definitely somewhere where I think he will be beatable. Not an easy track by any means, but an unpredictable one where a lot can happen. Any other final thoughts you have before we get out of here, Mean Gene?
Well, as I'm looking at the points, I just want to point out, hey, look at our top rookie right there, Ricky Mandela, 10th in points. So he's in it. We got a rookie pushing that top 12. So that makes me happy. New blood chasing old blood.
Love that. Yep, the rookies are definitely coming out strong this year. Not surprising. The pool of talent in this league just so deep. So not crazy to see a rookie up there, and I think that's only going to improve as he gets more comfortable around this big field and more comfortable around these drivers. You're only going to see more out of guys like Mandela, Rose, so many good rookies in this league right now, so many guys to keep an eye on. Gonna be fun.
Yeah, can't wait to see what happens. And of course, all of it made possible by our sponsors and you viewers at the house. So let's keep it going. Let's push this momentum and just see what we can do. We're only in race 3, Zach. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, I cannot believe we're only in race 3, me and Gene. It is wild to think about that. And yeah, shout out to our sponsors. Thank you to Animal House Customs for today. Fokum Racing for constantly supporting this league. Means a ton to us, and we're having the greatest time covering this league, and we cannot wait to be back next week. So we're going to wrap this thing up. From Zach Panzarella, Mean Gene Money, Buddy Sully in the booth, and BRL Bonfire Racing League. We will see you guys all next Sunday in sunny California.